It is a truth long established that a liberal woman over 50 with a lesbian haircut is sure to support the most evil ideas and policies that mankind has ever conceived. If evil had a face and a haircut, this is what it would look like. It would look exactly like Marianne Buddy.
She's talking about behaviors, and she's cloaking these behaviors under the false guise of compassion. I mean, she's lecturing a guy who got shot about being in danger.
She is the worst preacher I have ever in my life.
President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments.
In a time when every dollar counts, the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, has come under fire for allegedly spending millions of taxpayer dollars on projects overseas that many Americans would never expect. Among them, a $47,000 transgender opera in Colombia, a $70,000 musical promoting DEI in Ireland, and a $1.5 million grant for workplace equity programs in Serbia. These revelations have sent shockwaves across conservative media and become political ammunition in an election year where fiscal responsibility is a rallying cry. The implications go beyond headlines. With local programs like Meals on Wheels and Head Start experiencing funding uncertainty, everyday Americans are asking, why is money flowing out when help is needed at home? The perceived misalignment of priorities has ignited a fierce debate, one where foreign diplomacy, woke culture, and bureaucratic oversight collide. And stepping into that firestorm is none other than Karoline Leavitt, Trump's former White House press secretary, now a rising Republican star. She claims she's exposing not just wasteful spending, but a deeper systemic issue involving ideological infiltration into foreign policy, and the figure at the center of it all, a man she's dubbed the woke bishop.
And here's the reason why Elon Musk and others have been taking a look. Because if you look at the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on.
Karoline Leavitt has always branded herself as a disruptor. At just 25, she made headlines as the youngest woman to serve as White House press secretary. Now, she's at the forefront of a new conservative movement that's using cultural wedge issues to challenge the very institutions that manage billions in taxpayer dollars. She's not just pointing fingers, she's launching what she calls a crusade against leftist globalism funded on America's dime. Recently, Leavitt zeroed in on USAID, accusing it of funneling funds to organizations and projects that push what she calls radical, woke ideologies in foreign countries. Her latest target is a religious leader whose nonprofit has received millions from U.S. grants. She refers to him only as the woke bishop, a moniker that's quickly gained traction in online discourse, especially among right-wing influencers and pundits. This bishop, while not officially named in Leavitt's briefing, is believed to be connected to an international faith-based aid organization operating in multiple developing countries. Critics allege that under the guise of humanitarian work, his programs push gender ideology, critical race theory, and progressive theology, raising questions about whether USAID funding is being misused to promote ideologies rather than provide tangible aid.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you, and as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
The central claim from Leavitt is that millions in U.S. aid have been routed to programs that have little to do with emergency relief or development, and everything to do with social engineering. She's called out not just the projects themselves, but the entire system that enables such funding decisions to fly under the radar. According to Leavitt, the woke bishop is exploiting this system, redirecting American funds to promote agendas that clash with the values of the very taxpayers footing the bill. Leavitt's team highlighted grants given to the bishop's affiliated programs, ones allegedly focused more on identity politics than poverty alleviation. These include equity-based economic training, LGBTQ plus interfaith dialogues, and gender justice curriculum for rural schools. She argues that these initiatives do little to solve core problems like hunger, access to clean water, or literacy, and instead serve to promote U.S. cultural narratives in foreign settings. But the biggest challenge lies in the bureaucracy itself. USAID works through a complex network of subcontractors, nonprofits, and foreign partners, making oversight difficult and accountability murky. Critics say this allows ideologically driven individuals to embed their agendas in aid work with minimal checks. Leavitt's exposure of the bishops' programs has brought renewed attention to the lack of transparency in this vast aid pipeline. Digging deeper, let's talk about how USAID funds are actually distributed. The agency rarely hands money directly to a single group. Instead, it uses a labyrinth of grant applications, contractor bids, and intermediary organizations. This makes it difficult to trace exactly where the money ends up and what it's used for. Leavitt argues that this is intentional, that the current structure not only invites misuse, but shields it under a thick veil of bureaucratic red tape. As for the bishop in question, although his real name hasn't been confirmed in official reports, investigations point to a European-based religious figure tied to progressive social causes, particularly in Latin America and Eastern Europe. His organization has received recurring USAID grants since 2017. While his defenders say he's advancing inclusion and human rights, Leavitt and others claim he's leveraging religion to gain access to aid money and push an ideological gospel of gender politics and woke theology. Online reaction has been swift and polarized. On X, formerly Twitter, the hashtag #WokeBishop trended after Leavitt's speech. Conservative commentators like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens rallied behind her, calling it a bold stand for truth and fiscal sanity. Meanwhile, progressive voices dismissed the accusations as a witch hunt, arguing that Leavitt is politicizing aid work to score points. This divide underscores the deeper culture war now bleeding into foreign policy.
I wanted to take the opportunity in the context of that of service for unity to say we need to treat everyone with dignity, and we need to be merciful. And I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing, and in which real people are being harmed.
The tipping point came during a press briefing where Leavitt presented a leaked internal memo from a USAID partner organization. The memo discussed plans to embed equity frameworks into all faith-based service delivery models.
And here's the reason why Elon Musk and others have been taking a look. Because if you look at the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
To Leavitt, this was the smoking gun. Proof that religious aid groups were not just helping people, but promoting ideological transformation using US dollars. She followed this revelation by announcing the administration would immediately freeze any future disbursements to NGOs with unverified ideological programs. That decision sent shockwaves through the aid community. Several high-profile organizations, including those affiliated with Catholic Relief Services and Oxfam, issued statements condemning the freeze, arguing it would jeopardize critical programs in war zones and disaster areas. The fallout has been intense. Some nonprofits have already reported delayed food shipments and halted education programs due to the freeze. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers are demanding deeper audits, while Democrats accuse Leavitt of undermining diplomacy and weaponizing religion. But for Leavitt, this moment cemented her role as a crusader for transparency, whether you see her as a hero or a political opportunist. This controversy isn't just about one bishop or a few questionable grants. It's about what kind of country the U.S. wants to be on the world stage. Should we be promoting values abroad that are still hotly debated at home? Or should our aid focus solely on life-saving essentials like food, medicine, and infrastructure? Karoline Leavitt has ignited a necessary debate, one that questions the ideological undercurrents of America's foreign aid strategy. She's forced agencies like USAID into the spotlight and exposed how easily humanitarian missions can morph into cultural campaigns. Her critics call it a political stunt. Her supporters call it a wake-up call. No matter where you stand, one thing is clear. This story reveals a massive blind spot in U.S. foreign aid oversight, and it sparked a new wave of scrutiny that will likely influence funding decisions and elections for years to come. What do you think? Is Karoline Leavitt exposing a real problem, or is this just political theater? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into news, politics, and the stories behind the headlines.